Hello friends, welcome back. The next scheduling algorithm we are having is the shortest job first, non-primitive at different time intervals. So let's start with the same. So now this time we are having the different time intervals. That is again it is given to us. So let's start with the Gantt chart now without wasting the time. Now you can see this thing at zero time interval, no process arrives. I told you the Gantt chart will always start from the zero time interval. So we have to mention over here, if no process arrives at zero time interval, so when I am reaching at one time interval, so here I am highlighting with the, I have highlighted to show this thing that at this stage, CPU remains idle. And if we are getting anywhere any kind of this situation, it means there is a, you can say we will call our system not a fair system, because the aim of the operating system is we are never going to make our CPU idle, but we have to show in our Gantt chart. So 0 to 1, this is the idle state of the CPU. But when we are reaching at one time interval, you can see there are two processes, that is P1 and P3. They both got activated. Yes. Now I told you, if you are having both the processes which arrives at one time interval, but our algorithm is of shortest job first, which means we will compare the shortest job among P1 and P3. So out of P1 and P3, which is having the least job, that is P3. So it means CPU will be allocated to the P3 process. And for how much time? So it is of 2 burst time. So 1 plus 2, that is equal to 3. So yes, very good. Next is when we are reaching at 3, now you can see that P2 also got activated. Now it means that I am left with P1 and P2. In the meanwhile, I am crossing the P3 because I am not going to see this P3. So I'm left with three processes, out of which P1 and P2 are activated right now. Okay, out of P1 and P2, which process will be getting the CPU? Again, we are going to compare the burst time now. Yes. So out of P1 and P2, P1 is having the least burst time. So it means CPU will be allocated to P1 process. And for how much time? For the 3 milliseconds. So 3 plus 3, that is equal to 6. So again, I am crossing this P1. So I'm left now. When I'm reaching at the 6 time interval, now you can see that P4 also got activated now because it arrives at 4 time interval. So I'm having P2 and P4. Now you can see that both the processes are having the same burst time. So as we have discussed the last point, if you are facing such kind of situation at this time, you are going to follow the strategy of the FCFS, which means that whosoever the process comes first in the table, we will be allocating the CPU to that particular process, which means now this time I'm going to allocate the CPU to P2 process. So what is the burst time of P2 process? That is 4. Now I'm going to add in the Gantt chart, that is 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. Okay, last I'm left with the P4 process. So CPU will be allocated to P4 process. So what is the burst time? 4. So 10 plus 4 is equal to 40. So I got my Gantt chart. Now I'm going to start calculating the completion time and turnaround time and waiting time values. So let's start with the completion time. Now first of all, when P1 is releasing the CPU, so as we can see through the Gantt chart, P1 is releasing the CPU at 6 time interval. So I'm writing over here 6. Then comes the P2 when P2 is releasing the CPU at 10 time interval. So I'm writing the value of 10 over here. Then comes the P3. So when P3 is releasing, now from the Gantt chart it is very clear that it is releasing at 3 time interval. So last I'm having is P4. Similarly, P4 is releasing the CPU at 14. Yes, I got the completion time values now. So let's start calculating the turnaround time. Turnaround time we can calculate like the formula is already given to you. So turnaround time is equal to, okay, completion time minus arrival time. So 6 minus 1, that is equal to 5. Next is 10 minus 2, that is equal to 8. Similarly for P3, 3 minus 1, that is equal to 2. And the last 14 minus 4 is equal to 10. So we got our turnaround time values. So okay, in the similar way we can calculate the waiting time also. The formula is already mentioned to you. So what is the turnaround time? Right now we have calculated, that is 5 for the process P1 minus the burst time. So 5 minus 3, that is equal to 2. Okay, next for the P2 the turnaround time is 8. 8 minus, and the burst time is 4. So 8 minus 4 is equal to 4. And then for the P3, that is 2 minus 2 is equal to that is 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, last comes the P4 and turnaround time is 10. So 10 minus burst time is 4 and 10 minus 4 is equal to 6. So we got all the values of waiting time. So it can be added in the question to calculate the response time. So we have done this parameter also. What is this response time? So any of the process when he got the CPU for the first time, I'm not talking about the request, but actually he got the CPU for the first time minus when he arrives. So let us see through the numerical only. So if I'm talking about the P1 process, so when CPU actually got the CPU, so we can see from the Gantt chart. So actually P1 got the CPU at 3 time interval, and 3 minus what is the arrival time of P3, that is equal to 1. So 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. So I hope you got this response time. So again we can calculate for the P2 when P2 actually got the CPU for the first time, that is from the Gantt chart we can see that is equal to 6. And what was the arrival time of P2, that is equal to 2. So 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. Similarly, we can calculate for P3 and P4, that is 1 minus 1 for the P3, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. And for the P4, 10 minus 4 because is equal to 6. Okay, I hope you got the response time also. So in any of the case, it can be asked in the question. So one more thing I want to tell you to compare the to confirm the values whether you are going on the right track or no. So you simply calculate, or you add all the values of the burst time simply 3 plus 4, that is 7 plus 2 9 plus 4 13. Okay, at the Gantt chart you can confirm your answer. What answer you're getting, that is 14, because one particular time interval is the wastage. You can subtract that one time interval. So 14 minus 1, that is equal to 13. So always this Gantt chart last value as well as the burst time, the sum of the burst time is always equal. So this is the, you can say, confirmation of your result that you are on the right track. So I hope you got this you can say confirmation also. Okay, so in the same way we are going to calculate the average waiting time. The formula is same, simply get all the values from the table of the waiting time, that is 2 plus 4 plus 0 plus 6, and dividing by number of processes, that is equal to 4. The answer I'm going to get is 3.0. And similarly we can calculate the average turnaround time also, getting all the values from the table. So 5 plus 8 plus 2 plus 10 divided by 4. So answer I'm getting is 6.25. Now again we have just now calculated the response time also. So it can be also asked what is the average response time. So in the same way you can calculate the average response time also by yourself by adding all the response time values of all the processes and dividing by 4.